Nakakwentuhan. Ma'am Shaila, how do you feel that, if not all, most of the movies that you've written or co-written made an impact on the pop culture of the Philippines? The likes of Tanging Yaman, of course, Sana Maulit Muli. I've watched it million times and I
Really?
always cry watching that
Yeah.
Dubai, etc. It made a lot of impact, not just in Philippine cinema, but in pop culture in general.
How do I feel about it? I feel very, I think, honored that I was allowed to be a part of those projects. Um, I always mention my gratitude to Olive Lamasan, who's also a batchmate of mine in Merinol. She was the first one that gave me the break in writing when I joined Maalaala Mo Kaya, the television show, yes, and Malu Santos. And then I also credit Ricky Lee for being very generous with his talent. I learned a lot from him. Style of writing, character development, um, how to, make like story impact. Those were my two top. Olive Lamasan and Ricky Lee were my two top mentors. Yeah, and I'm very very privileged and honored to have been, part of those projects.
Yeah. I don't know if this has been mentioned to you, but most of the movies I've mentioned are masters of their own. I mean, sino hindi nakapanood ng Tanging Yaman at na hindi naiyak?
Mhm.
Sino hindi nakapanood ng Sana Maulit Muli na hindi naiyak? But where did you get all the inspiration from writing those masterpieces?
Like Tanging Yaman, that was the vision of Loris. We
Yeah.
already had um, a ready material when the project started. We had a material to work on. It was Loris's vision, and Raymond and I just adhered to her vision and just embellished it. So, but for the other projects, for instance, one of my favorite projects was Kailangan Kita,
I
because
cried that as
I'm a Bicolana, so it was
Oh!
shot in Bicol, so it's very close to my heart.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think it's key if you're writing something, if you write from your heart, not necessarily having experienced it, but having experienced something similar, so that you can write um, as authentically and as genuinely as you can. Because when I was teaching in Marinol before, I was teaching um, what was I teaching? I forgot.
In writing,
Film,
that
film production. I was
yeah.
teaching film production. I always tell my students, you know, if you want to something, produce something that means something to you. Okay,
Got it.
your if it's about for instance, young love, or in Taging Yaman, for instance, about a family, no? I'm a very family-oriented person. Um, at that time, my mother didn't have Alzheimer's yet, but my mother went through Alzheimer's and just passed away last month. So I, when looking back at that script and that story, now it impacts me differently because I went through it myself. But at that time, hindi ko naman na-experience pa yun eh. Ang alam ko lang at that time was that, I was part of a family, we were very closely knit, as the same as the family in Tanging Yaman. But in all families, no matter how closely knit you are, there are always like underlying issues, hurts, scars that have to be addressed so that you're able to heal, or start on the road to healing. For Kailangan Kita, that was my pet project.
Grabe yung kailangan kita,
Yes.
ma'am. I remember every scene vividly.
That was a pet project because I'm a Bicolano at heart. I grew up in Bicol, so yun. So I guess sa lahat ng mga projects ko, ang pinaka-paborito ko talaga was Kailangan Kita.
I got it.